Calamera. Top of the morning, cheer. Top of the morning. Yep. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all from me, DJ Ginge, over here in Zakynthos. And as you can see, it's been an interesting morning. We've had thunder this morning. We had rain last night. It's starting to dissipate a little bit. I'll be interested to see what Amanda's weather forecast is for today. Looking towards Amber Lockerbie and Kerry, still heavy cloud over in that direction. Coming in. The hills over there, you see it's starting to clear, and the sun is trying to fight its way through. Now, when I go around the other side of the house, in fact, you can see where all the water from the rain and that this morning. Literally, as I was putting the news together this morning, we could hear the rumbles of the thunder going as well. But if you look down towards Kalamaki and also down towards Laguna direction, yeah, it's not looking good in action. It's definitely cloudy, although the sun is fighting to come through at the moment. Just go up there. The sun is fighting to come out. But if I look across to all of this, look at that. It is reasonably clear blue skies looking towards it. So today it's going to be a run day, I think, from the weather point of view. The news itself is going to be a little bit interesting, shall we say. Once again, can I just say a quick hello to a few people? Shane Bowen and Exmoor's tuning in. We've also got the lovely Julie Meldrum and Marco and Lauren as well. Nice to see you tuning in, my lovely. Hope you're keeping well as well. And Susie Angus also as well. Right, let me just switch myself around. So that, and then somebody just said, Calimera, Ginge, happy St. Patrick's Day. And yes, of course, I'm part Irish myself. My mother's from Dungannon. Can I just say hello to my mum? She's looking in this morning. You have a happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to give you a call at Green Gables Nursing Home. Can I just say thank you to all the staff at Green Gables Nursing Home? It seems they had a bit of a St. Patrick's tea yesterday, and it looked really nice online. I've got to be honest, the pictures looked absolutely lovely, and I know they do enjoy St. Patrick's Day. So just another thing, last year was when the nursing home that my mum was in went into lockdown, was on St. Patrick's Day, and they were in lockdown right the way through until October. I managed to just quickly go and see my mum in October for just a few days, and basically, yeah, they've all been in lockdown, sort of on and off, even from October onwards. So once again, thank you to all staff at the Green Gables Nursing Home for all that they're doing. I've also had, I can't believe the amount of people that have been clicking into the video that I put up on YouTube of the 78-year-old lady, Penelope. I've had a little bit more information about the lady. Most people don't know, there was a 78-year-old woman, Penelope, who was viciously attacked outside her church. Now, this was not in Greece, this was in Australia, in Melbourne. Anyway, she was opening up the St. Constantine and the Helen Greek Orthodox Church in South Yarra in Melbourne at about 6 a.m. on the Saturday morning, when she was attacked by two people. They punched her, they broke her pelvis, they broke her wrist. She had a bleed on the brain. She was obviously, they took stuff from her but didn't actually take it, if you can understand what I mean. They didn't take her money, didn't take her, they took her stuff initially. However, she was obviously found by workers, then obviously got into hospital. She did an interview, not her, but her sister, her daughter-in-law did an interview on a local station in Melbourne. And basically, the news at the moment is that she's sitting up in hospital. She's recovering. And also the police have managed to get a CCTV footage picture of one of the perpetrators, and that has been posted online. The police in Melbourne are still appealing for witnesses to come forward, and also for anybody who might be able to identify the picture of the person that they have released. Also as well, one thing I did notice on some of the pages where I'd distributed the actual
where I distributed the videos that I put together of the story, people were saying that it was a form of religious hate crime and everything else like that. The police are now saying that this wasn't a religious attack. This was basically a drug-related attack, even though the person, whoever it was, didn't take the money off her to go get it fixed. Some people have been saying that it was a religious hate attack, but the police are obviously saying or playing that down. And saying, no, it is a drug-related attack. So once again, from everybody here in Greece to Penelope and her family, we wish you all the best. Hopefully that you will be released from hospital and you will get back soon to your husband, who suffers from dementia, and obviously you can care for him as well. But from what I can understand from the local press, people have rallied around this woman and her family and have done wonders, all right, just to make things a bit easier for her when she gets out of hospital and she goes home, back to her home. So once again, we're going to keep a tab on that story and we'll see how that plays out as well. Right then, I've just got to say a quick happy birthday to my ex-wife. All right, Christine, I wish you a happy birthday, my darling, because again, you were born on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. Could never forget your birthday, that's for sure. But anyway, and I hope you have a nice day today. And I know you're busy working at the moment in the pharmacy over there in Leighton Buzzard. I'm obviously frontline person dealing with what's going on in the pharmacy area. Anyway, you have a nice day. Right. OK, let's look at the COVID infections for the last 24 hours. I'm afraid the figures aren't looking good. The figures are going back up again. Last time I reported to you 1,134 new cases after seeing a slight downward trend. However, that's gone back up again at the moment. 1,533 new cases across Greece within the last 24 hours. Bringing the total at the moment to 223,789 since the start of the pandemic, of which 51% of those are male that have been affected. Anyway, again, up by quite a number, I've got to be honest, is entries into the country. Last time I reported to you that it had gone up to 13. Well, yesterday it went up to 27 identified cases coming in through the borders of the country. So that is quite a bit of a rise. Now, according to the national stats yesterday across the Ionian, there was no new cases in Lefkada. There was only one new case in Kefalonia, one new case in Corfu, and one new case reported in Zakynthos. Well, as of this morning, I can now tell you that we've had 5 positive cases of coronavirus for Tuesday, and they are as follows. They are a 26-year-old man, a 50-year-old man, a 39-year-old man, a 25-year-old man, and a 20-year-old woman. All of them had tested positive from the virus, had been suffering mild symptoms of the virus as well. At the moment, they've all been sent home to home quarantine, and also their movements are being traced as well. Some of them, of those people, were in contact with other people who were suffering from the virus. So they were a local contact, as it were, rather than what they call an orphaned case or an isolated case. Anyway, so at the moment today, it's been 5. It'll be interesting to see what the national statistics will give out tonight when they release them, as they do every night, round about 6 o'clock from the Greek government. And we'll see how the numbers go up or down from there. Anyway, as for the grand totals at the moment, that means that Zakynthos has had 165 positive cases since the beginning of the year. And this month of March, we've had 65 cases for March. So I think the way things are looking, when you think last month, February, we had 70 cases throughout the whole of the month, 65 cases now, and we're up to the 17th of March. I think we're going to exceed that 70 cases at the moment from the looks of things. But anyway, we shall wait and see. Right. As for deaths at the moment, unfortunately, deaths are also up across Greece. From 46 I reported to you last time. At the moment, we are now at 59 new deaths across the country. The average age of those people are 79 years of age, and 96% of those have underlying health conditions. or are suffering from I'll say that again, 96% of those had underlying health conditions, and also over the age of 70 as well. And put that in context, the daily death rate for Greece, you're probably going to remember this number, for last year, for 2019, the average daily death rate was 329 deaths a day. That was long before COVID had ever arrived. As for deaths on Zakynthos, we've only had 2 this year. One was last week. An 80-year-old woman in Zakynthos passed away, and in February we had 1 death, and that was a 70-year-old woman who passed away in February. Sorry, in February, and 1 in March. There you go. So 2, that's all we've had. Now, as for critical cases, this is now becoming worrying for certain areas, especially Attica. At the moment, there was 564 cases in ICUs across Greece. Now, at the moment, that number has risen to 605 new cases across Greece. 412 of those are male. 193 of those are female. The average age of critical patients is 68 years of age, and 86% of those had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70. Right, today's news then. Now, I've got to be honest, some of this news might sound a bit long-winded. I'm going to try and make it as concise as possible, but it is important, especially for those people who are considering having the vaccination as well. So anyway, here we go. Right, it's been confirmed yesterday that vaccinations will begin on Monday the 22nd for Group A citizens, all right, here in Greece. Vulnerable people with underlying severe illnesses. They are classed as Group A. Now, with regard to those in the age of 70 to 74, the appointment platform for those people, that will open on March the 26th. And once again, if you want to book a vaccine appointment, just go to your local pharmacist. That's probably the easiest way to do it, and get your local pharmacy to book you your appointment, all right? And the platform of those aged 65 to 69, that platform is going to open sometime in early April. However, they have not yet said any particular date. So once again, if you're 65 to 69, that's going to open in April. And also, if you're 70 to 74, the platform opens on March the 26th. And as of Monday, the 22nd of March, Group A citizens who are the vulnerable, so if you're suffering some underlying illness or your health is not good, you may be eligible to get that vaccine early if you want it. Now, we're going to come along to vaccines at the moment. The Greek Health Ministry has confirmed that 172,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine have already been administered in Greece, and just 1 report of complications that upon further examination were found to be unrelated to the vaccine. The minister also confirmed in the light of this, Greece would continue to administer the vaccine whilst assessing all data on any issues. Now, meanwhile, a Greek newspaper called The Greek Reporter has learned exclusively that a 63-year-old university professor collapsed within the first 24 hours after receiving the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine in Athens, as concerns over the side effects of the vaccine is growing across and throughout Europe. Now, Germany, Italy, France, Spain and other European countries that have temporarily halted the use of that particular COVID-19 shot. Now, the Greek health minister, Vasilis Kalandis, said yesterday he confirmed that Greece will continue administering the AstraZeneca vaccine pending an investigation by the European Medicines Agency. Now, the 63-year-old professor spoke exclusively to the Greek Reporter. He said that he collapsed on February the 18th, the day after he received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. He told the Greek Reporter, "I suddenly fainted as I was talking to a colleague in the office. I was standing up and fell on the floor like a sack of potatoes. I was told I remained unconscious for about 2 minutes." Anyway, the professor then said that he sustained an injury to his face and his head from the fall. He said, but things could have been worse if the incident had happened a few minutes before, as he'd been driving his car. Anyway, after the man regained consciousness. He received first aid from colleagues and ambulance support. He was then taken to the Theriaris Hospital, where a series of tests were then carried out on him. However, the results showed that there was nothing wrong with his general health, and there was no indication that it had caused the collapse. It was the first time in my life, he said, that something like that had happened to me. He also added that he suffers from no underlying health issues or conditions. Anyway, skeptical about receiving a second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, he said, I had no second thoughts about receiving the vaccine. I was among the first in my age group to be vaccinated. He also told the Greek reporter, I really believe that the vaccine will restore normalcy to our everyday lives. He says that after his hospital discharge, he called the vaccination centre in Athens and informed the doctors about the incident. He was reassured that the collapse was not related to the vaccine. He then said, I was still worried and I followed the advice of the doctor and started another round of checkups, which included an electrocardiogram, myocardio perfusion imaging, that's a scan basically, triple X vascular and thyroid ultrasound, and a stress test. He said, I was also issued with a Holter monitor to measure my heart activity. Again, the results showed no issues with my health. Anyway, I'm not certain that the collapse was the result of the AstraZeneca, he said, but nobody has reassured me that it is not. The doctor's opinions diverge, he says. The professor says he is uncertain whether he will receive the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. If the situation does not clear up, I think twice about receiving the second dose. I will try to get the vaccine of another company. Anyway, a cascade of cautionary pauses that started last week picked up on stream on Monday as Denmark was the first country to suspend the AstraZeneca shots. Also, Ireland, Norway, the Netherlands and Iceland have also said that they would wait for Europe's bloc-wide medicines regulator to investigate a small number of serious blood clotting issues among people who have received the AstraZeneca shot. The regulator of the European Medicines Agency is expected on Thursday to give its verdict on the safety and the potential risks from a review of the reported cases. The agency on Monday repeated an advisory from last week that for now it's recommending that countries keep using the vaccine, saying the benefits outweigh the possible risks. Anyway, Jane asked me to put a little bit in here. She says correlation and causation. If you go out and do a rain dance and it rains, does it cause the rain? All right. Basically, we're going to wait and see. But on the other hand, when I was checking another story, Pfizer COVID vaccine is linked to more blood clots than the AstraZeneca. So why is it the EU is banning it? The hypocrisy of the European Union revealed as Italy admits the decision was totally political. The regulator and scientists insist that the clots are appearing in average numbers and are not linked to the vaccines. By now, 14 countries in Europe have stopped using the AstraZeneca vaccine, triggering an uproar. Data shows the blood clots reported more often after the Pfizer in the UK, suggesting that neither has an unusually risk level. They're so rare that it's more common for death to be reported than a blood clot, still with no link to the vaccine. So that's basically saying that there's a political edge in all of this. And I think there's a bit of a Brexit mentality that they're saying that the AstraZeneca is unsafe is because it's produced in the UK, and a bit of power politics is coming into play here. Yes, it seems that the vaccines are probably the same in the risk values at the moment, and suspending the Oxford vaccine, the AstraZeneca, is basically a little dig at Brexit, I would say. That's my opinion of that, and I think the Daily Mail is also of the same opinion at the moment, that politics is now coming into play as this pandemic goes on. Greece's Committee of Health Experts on the coronavirus is due to convene today to discuss the latest epidemiology. Oh, this is a good story, by the way. I'm going to restart this one because this is kind of connected with the last story, but there's hope, all right? Anyway, Greece's Committee of Health Experts on the coronavirus is due to convene today to discuss the latest epidemiological data and to address plans for a gradual reopening of the economical activity and basically getting the shops and retail businesses open. All right, now the committee, which has been advising the government on its policy guidelines since the start of the pandemic, will also be examining the existing lockdown measures and proposing where changes can be made that will facilitate an increasing easing of restrictions while safeguarding public health. Now, the government hopes to be able to start lifting the restrictions on retail commerce towards the end of the month to ease pressure on the beleaguered economy, but also in acknowledgement of the lockdown fatigue that is becoming evident from the increasing violations of health rules. Basically, we've been locked down here in Greece since well before Christmas, and people are just getting a bit sick of it at the moment. And trust me, our lockdown is a lot more stricter than the lockdowns that the UK has had in the realms of business being open, etc., and people's civil liberties of being able to come and go as you please. We don't have any of that here at the moment. And it's also proved that these lockdowns, in effect, have not really been working in the true sense. And Italy is a prime example of that. First country to lock down, they've locked down again, and there seems to be no improvement on what's happening there. Anyway, it's also hoped that schools will be able to reopen at the moment at the end of March, and that some leisure activities will be allowed again in April or early May. Anyway, any gradual lifting of measures will also depend on the progress of the country's vaccination campaign. Experts say nothing than the wider coverage of closure. So that doesn't make sense, does it? Nothing that the wider the coverage, the closer a reopening begins. That sounds more like English there, Ginge. So again, we'll wait and see what's said today. I do know that the local press are really covering this story at the moment about the measures being relaxed, and so businesses can start to operate on a much more normal line. And of course, although we've had a spike in these last month or so, however, is it any safer shopping in a small little shop than it is shopping in a big supermarket? What is the difference? Does the virus not go into the big supermarkets? Yeah, it goes into the small shops. And you can understand the frustration of the retailers here who've had their places closed. Also as well, the bars, the restaurants, the cafes as well, again, who have had their businesses shut and are not seeing any chance of an opening yet on the horizon. So anyway, let's hope that we see an opening on the horizon. Anyway, talking about intensive checks, we've just had this morning intensive police checks carried out across the Ionian by the police departments of the respective areas. A total of 41 violations for movement and 22 violations for the use of masks were recorded across the Ionian over the weekend. In addition to that, there was a breach of house quarantine was confirmed in Zakynthos. Yet a person was fined €5,000 for breaching their quarantine. So somebody on the island, no real details as to where it was, what part of the island was, and what the reason behind it was. But somebody who's supposed to be in home quarantine had been caught out and obviously been fined €5,000 here on Zakynthos for breaking their quarantine restrictions. So once again, please, if you're somebody who's come back from abroad and you're supposed to be in your house for 14 days and you decide that you're going out, you've only yourselves to blame, all right? So at the moment, I wouldn't like to be trying to find €5,000 at this time of the year to cover a fine for not staying in your house. Right, and finally, a bit of a light-hearted story for you. Did you know that the nation of Greece is connected to the Suez Canal? Yeah. Basically, back in the mid-19th century, when engineer Ferdinand Lesseps needed workers to actually dig the canal, couldn't rely on all the locals to do it. They needed help from Greece. So believe it or not, Greek construction workers started work digging the Suez Canal in 1859. It then took them 10 years to dig it out. And what's more, they kind of stayed. Yeah. Greek community has grown up in Greece. Probably a lot of people are quite aware of that. And the Greek men who helped make the canal possible, they came from various parts of Greece, which including Kastelloris, Patmos, Rhodes and Kassos. And many of them obviously travelled to the Suez where they worked. They put down roots. Despite the horrendous working conditions, the lack of clean drinking water, the heat, the cholera, the typhus and all the other diseases that were going round. And a lot of the descendants there are still there today. And it was interesting, actually, a little article from the president of today's Cairo Greek community says that Lesseps needed staff members and many looked for better wages. The conditions were certainly difficult and they used to dig with their hands, and many people were also killed while digging out the canal. And they also used Greek sailors. They were also brought in to help maneuver the ships around the canal as well. And thus the actual Greek community flourished in that part of Egypt. Anyway, today, a large part of the community, he says, they can actually trace their roots directly back to those workers that were digging out the canals back in 1859. And what was interesting was that one of the conditions that a lot of the Greeks said, we want to do all this work and we're happy to stay. The only thing we would like to see, apart from the wages, obviously, is that we could name the area where we live as New Kassos. However, that wasn't to be. It was decided already what the name of the area was going to become. And instead of becoming New Kassos, they actually took the name Said Pasha. And then it then went from Said Pasha and changed its name to Port Said. So there you go. There's a connection between Greece and Egypt. And another little story for you to do with music is your man, Demis Roussos. Everybody says, Demis Roussos, he was Greek. In fact, he was actually of Egyptian origin, all right? Even though, he was Greek-Egyptian, Demis Roussos. Just thought you might like to know that. And also, that just reminds you that today I have my show on as well, my live broadcast, which today is going to have a St. Patrick's flavour to it. Yes, I'm going to be playing St. Patrick's music, your requests, my inspirations. So if you've got any requests or inspirations, but it's going to have a bit of a St. Patrick's flavour to it as well. Right, let's have a quick look and see who's tuning in at the moment. I can see some comments coming as well, probably about the AstraZeneca and about vaccinations. Susie Angus, Lauren, I've said hello to. Alf Ling, Julie, I've said hello to. Teresa Ann Handit, Shane Bowen. Lyndon is over there. Nice to see you tuning in, Lyndon. Also, Shane Bowen, he says, Gallimera Ginge, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all, and the top of the morning to you, sir, as well. And Amanda Gregory says, good morning, Ginge, rumble of thunder this morning. Yeah, I heard that rumble of thunder. Rain showers throughout the day. It's going to be a high of 15, but have a great day. Yeah, I was expecting that, my lovely, and thank you for your concise weather forecast as always. Paula Gwynn is also tuning in as well. Lovely to see you looking in. Christine Wildridge, Simon Grinley from Wendover. Nice to see you, Raffredge, buddy. I hope all is well in your world. Also, Amanda Gregory says, morning to Paula Glynn. That's nice. People are chatting to each other. Good to see. Bringing people together. Patsy Ann Dobson says, good morning, Ginge. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe. I will do. Mick Ling from Karaoke Thingy. Nice to have you looking in as well, fella. Hope all is well with you. Brian Darlington is also looking in as well. Chippy Woods over there in Spain is tuning in as well. Nice to see you, buddy, looking in. Sue Saint as well. Nice to see you. Barbara Telfer is watching. Sue Saint says, morning, Ginge. Morning to you, Sue. Pam Stott, nice to see you looking in as well, Pam. Patsy Ann
Dobson says, sorry to hear about that poor lady attacked in Australia. I hope she has a speedy recovery and they catch the people responsible for the attack. And I second that as well. The pictures are horrendous of that poor lady and it's just so sad. It is just so sad. The reason that I posted that, just to make it clear, is because some people actually believe that that story had happened in Greece. And I thought, no, Greece hasn't sunk to that level at the moment. But it was important that people understood that that had happened in Australia, not happened here in Greece, as some people had thought it had, and just basically clarify and clear it up. And also as well, you've got to remember, we have a lot of Greek Australians here in Zakynthos, and I do have a lot of Greek Australian people who tune in with roots back to the island here. And again, they would obviously like it made clear that, yeah, it happens in our part of the world, and we're doing something about it as well. And hopefully they will catch the culprits. Remember, it's a man and a woman who did this. They do have a picture of the man, and that has been circulated in Australian media at the moment. And it's hoping that somebody will recognise that person and see what happens there. Right. And also to Penelope and her family, we hope that you are on the mend. All right, my darling, you take care. Anyway, Andy Thompson is watching as well. Paula Carterton is watching too. Maria is tuning in. I hope all is well in your world, my darling. It's probably a little bit chillier than here. Glenn Stanley is also tuning in. There's a new name. Nice to see you, Glenn. Mark Walker is also tuning in. Andy Johnson, nice to see you, mate. Zanti Pete says, good morning and happy Paddy's Day to you all looking in. And just to let you know, Pete, quite a few of your tunes that you asked for last week on the Beats Radio Northern Soul Show, I've put them into my broadcast, which will go out on Sunday night. That's all been done, recorded and uploaded. And I've got a couple of tracks in there that I want you to have a really close listen to, because I'd like your opinion, all right? I'm not going to say any more than that. You have a listen, and I'd like your opinion on a couple of those tracks, all right? Also, Big Al Thompson, nice for you tuning in as well. Amanda Gregory says, it seems we are looking to a tighter lockdown curfew at the weekend from 7 p.m. till 5 a.m. I haven't seen that yet, Amanda, but I will check on that. Hopefully, I had a feeling we might be going towards that, I've got to be honest, simply because our numbers for our size of population here on the island, we are delving into that area of, because of the standard that's been set, we are into breaking that number. So again, I will be checking on that. Thank you for bringing that to my note there, my lovely, and I will have a look at that as well. Anyway, Matt Williams is looking in as well. Nice to see you there. Janet Ferrant is looking. Julie Meldrum says, happy Ginge St. Patrick's Day to you all and Jane. Thank you, my lovely. Margaret Miller is watching. Kathleen Ling is watching as well. Rosewood is watching. Chick Valentine is also tuning in. Dave Foley is watching. Les Paul from Florida is tuning in as well, sir. How are you? Looking forward to hearing your sermons when you start getting them broadcasted. Let me know. Put a link in and I'll have a listen, because Les Paul is a Florida listener over there in the US. He likes what the message is here on this state, on what I'm doing. And again, he likes some of the news that he's hearing from our perspective rather than the perspective mainly of the mainstream media in America at the moment, which again is so one way or the other, depending on your political leanings. You don't get a true unbiased picture of anything. If you need unbiased pictures, you need to go to the alternative media. All right, that's where you need to look. Bravo, Jimmy Dore. That's what I'll say. Anyway, Dave Coldwell is also tuning in from America as well. Nice to have you tuning in. Andrew the Fridge Watkins tuning in from Wales. How are things in Wales at the moment? Les Paul Porter has just put a little comment in. Vaccine equals part of depopulation project. Yes, we will have a look at that. But who knows? The planet has got so many people on it. Maybe this is a way of the big reset they're talking about. The fourth industrial revolution has also been talked about. We are living in
Personally, we are living in very frightening times. And you know what is frightening at the moment with everything that's going on? In England, the police at the moment have reached an all-time low in the opinion of the local of people in Britain. And at the moment, what did they do last night in the British Parliament? They pushed through a bill to give police more powers for crowd control for demonstrations. You will now not allowed to be, if the bill goes all the way through the House, and don't forget, this is just a second reading and it's been passed on the second reading. It's got to go to the House of Lords for verification. Hopefully the House of Lords will show some sense and chuck it back out. But the point is, if this bill goes through, you will not be allowed to stand in the street and demonstrate and shout and make noise, because you'll be breaking the law and the police can arrest you. So we are heading towards a police state. We've got a bit of it here in Greece at the moment. No more gatherings of 100 people allowed. And at certain times, no more gathering of 3 people allowed, depending on what the COVID alert state is going to be. And that's for our safety, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. That's for our safety. The more we give away for our safety, the more of our liberties we give up as well, and our freedoms, which tell me now you will not get them back. It will be harder for them to reverse it than it will be for them to put it into place. So once you have it in, you ain't going to get it back again. So once again, could I ask a bit of advice to our UK listeners? Start writing to your local MPs, telling them you don't want these extra powers being given to the police. It's not of any benefit. The police should be big enough and bold enough to take criticism on the chin. And at the moment, when they're talking about 6 p.m. curfews for men to walk on the street, that is absolute madness. You're putting everybody in the bracket with the individual who happened to be a policeman, by the way, who went out and murdered a young girl. So what we have to say now is, please, Jane writes to her MP in the UK, and trust me, you'll get the standard cut and paste letter back. But if you send a second or a third letter, they do start to reply properly to your letters. So once again, please don't let the British government start to change the laws in gathering of public people, etc., because those freedoms will be very hard to get back again once they impose more stricter legislation. Anyway, Paul Green is watching, Bernadette Berwick is watching, Christine Brown is watching, Dennis Kilclaris is also tuning in as well. Lovely to see you tuning in, Dennis, checking up what's going on. Nick Haviland is watching as well. Annalise Willis is also watching. Simon Burns, somebody, again already, vaccination equals part of the population project. Zanny Pete said, I had my Oxford and project coffin build take place in my shed. Oh yeah, you have a coffin build taking place in your shed later. Anyway, I hope I don't need one for the missus as well. Yeah, because who's going to make hers? You don't be making 2, do you? So anyway, thank you for that, Pete, and also thank you for resharing the show as well through the Argosy website, and also tuning in as well to my Northern Soul show as well. Your knowledge of Northern Soul is very, very good, sir, may I add as well. Anyway, Hilary Rogers is watching as well. Lovely to see you checking in, Hilary. Mick Richard, Diane Kemp, Brian Darlington says, poor kids, it's like a lost generation. Do you know what? I'm having this discussion yesterday with our next door neighbour who's got 2 young children, and we were discussing the same. She's not a great believer in what's been going on. She's not a great believer in the way that people are being pushed towards things that they don't want. And she worries for her children. Online learning. This is not working. This is all a joke. Online learning here. You've got 3 children, right, of different ages, different levels, or even in different schools. Now, that means you need 3 different forms of tablet, laptop, phone, so they can attend a class. Now, you might have a shoddy internet connection, so you can't actually get the lesson very easily. What's more, you're paying for that. Out of your pocket, you're paying for that internet connection. You're paying for that laptop. You're paying for that tablet. You're paying for that computer to be able to attend the class. Now, once the child is in that class, The teachers aren't exactly teaching some of them classes very well. There's a technique to be able to teach online. The other problem is kids who have problems in those schools, they get left behind because they're too worried to say something because everybody else knows, because the teacher has to stop to go and help that child. So again, this online learning, it doesn't work in the reality of it. Might be nice for somebody in the home counties where Pippa and Marcus have got fantastic internet collection, and Pippa's got a nice tablet and Marcus has got a brand new Apple Mac computer, and yet maybe they might be getting a better education in the way of connection. But I've also spoken to Greek university students who've told me, do you know what, Ginge? We sit in these classes with a teacher who cannot get the message over online, but we have to attend, because if we don't attend, that gets marked down on our grade. And he said, all we're doing is we show our face and we say, hi, we look, and we're playing computer games behind the screen because we don't understand either what they're talking about, what's going on, or we just cannot learn. So again, this utopia of online learning, you probably learn more on YouTube than what you will do in some of these classes in school. So anyway, that's my thing. And thank you for that comment there, Brian from Darlington. Maria Halberg says hello. Steve Hilton says hello. John Davis says hello. Jill Thomas. I'm just going to scroll through and see if I've got any comments. That's the main thing. Amanda, what's the forecast for Milton Keynes, please, from Zanti Pete? Oh, that's where he lives, in Milton Keynes. Bless him. You can have our rain. That's her reply. Thank you for that. I like that, Amanda. Anyway, listen, I'm going to have to go. Brian Darlington says you're spot on. Thank you for that, Brian. I do appreciate that. I'll keep my ear close to the ground. Yeah, we're in a big unknown at the moment. I think everybody's going to agree. There's a mix of Brexit coming into this politics. There's a mixture of gender coming into what's going on. We've got the pandemic as well. We've got corporations making vast sums of money, paying no taxes. The world at the moment is in a massive reset, and things are changing, not for the better for the ordinary man in the street, but for the 1% and the elite class. Hey, nothing's changed for them. They're still paying no tax. They're still getting their Amazon parcels delivered with the rubbish that they're buying online. And those Amazon people are still being fined for not getting the package to the customer on time, paying out of their own pocket for the hire of a van on 0 hours contracts. And like I said to the lady next door, and an Amazon wants to come invest in Greece. Trust me, once you let them in, it might look like a great thing for the country, but the reality is it'll only be good for one lot, and that'll be the corporation. Trust me. And they're bringing the data farms, all right, as well. So all that information gleaned from America, off American shores into European shores, you'll be wondering what will be running through those 3 data farms that they're going to be building over there in Athens. So anyway, we shall look on and we shall see what happens. Big shout out to Russ Turnbull. Nice to have you tuning in, buddy, as well. And I better go because I don't want to ramble on and be here too long, because I know you'll get bored otherwise. But anyway, please, again, on my YouTube, please like and subscribe on there. That would be nice. And I've got a little chicken down here. Where is she? Oh, well, people have been asking about the chicken with the broken leg. She's still about. What is that you've done? Have you left that there? Did you leave that there? Oh, bless. Anyway, I better give her something to eat. All right. I will catch you guys later. You take care and have a great day. Ta-ra.